Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.
Hello and welcome to show number 149, almost to 150, 149. Got the full house with Renikia and Adria. And welcome everyone. If this is your first time viewing this, what we do is we answer your questions about real estate investing with a main focus on wholesaling real estate, which allows you to put deals together without using your cash or credit. We try to go in a lot of different directions, hoping to add some value. So over to you, Adria.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us on this Thursday, July 9th. We're all in the house. This is the place to be, as Ty said, to get those questions asked in regards to wholesaling real estate. I highly suggest that you, at this moment, like right now, follow the Flip Man across all social media platforms at @Flip. So that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all the rest of them too. Twitter, all social media platforms. And as you can see, we do have the beautiful Miss Renikia here with us tonight as well. She also is available across all social media platforms at Renikia Williams. We will, if you haven't ever joined us before, we'll explain exactly what her company can do to assist you with taking your wholesaling game to the next level. She not only wholesales real estate, she does far much more, and she can help you get to that point as well. Thank you all for joining us. We're here every Thursday, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. And so go ahead and start posting those questions. Hi, Cameron. Hey, Keitha. Hey, Tim. Hey, Craig. Hey, Jody. Hey, Ray. What it do? Hi, Lord Finesse. And Mohammed 567, K Marie Kitchen, I see you. Make sure you're posting those questions on Instagram and TikTok as well. I ain't got to it yet.
No, make sure we don't do a good enough a good job at this. Is hit the share button while this is going on, and share it through your Facebook, your Instagram, obviously on YouTube. Your text messages, send it to 3 people. Everybody watching, send it to 3 people. Let's grow, and maybe we can educate and help some other people also.
All right, you got it, guys. Hit that like, share, subscribe, ding, bell button, all of that, and share with a friend. So on TikTok, Sure, Honda Focus, Ricky AP, and Gary Waddell, I see you all. Continue posting those questions, and we're going to get started. Renikia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about tonight.
All right. Well, I'm thinking we're just going to dive right into this thing, and we're going to take the very first question, which was Cameron White, and he wanted to know, how do I handle the EMD? For those new, EMD is earnest money deposit, and he wants to know, do I hand the seller a check or do I give it to the title company?
That's how I can start it off. That's a really great question. Either way, it's all negotiable by all parties, how you all want to handle it. In my experience, the best practice is to handle it to a third party, because when you start looking for somebody to give you your money back, people start getting missing when it comes to, trying to get your earnest money back. So to me, I'd rather pull up to a business, an attorney office, where I can get, if disperse my money or anything of that nature. But ultimately, it's totally up to both parties. I mean, I know a wholesaler that I have refused to do business with all these years because he wanted the earnest money in his hand. And he not only want the earnest money in his hand, he want $1,500 on every deal. So I'm like, what? So to me, that's too much earnest money to go into someone's hand. And I just want to deal with the attorney. But it's all negotiable.
Okay. Ty, any input on the EMD?
No, that's perfect.
All right. Shaq Smith from Westside D-Town. I see you. Rudy Martinez. Yeah, I see it. Rick Pina and Tabina. Thank you for joining us. So on TikTok, we do have SoCalU that says, I was just listening to you on Wholesale Inc. talking about bandit signs. Well, what about them? So what do we have about bandit signs? Great form of marketing.
Yeah, very. Bandit signs are a very inexpensive way to generate leads, not only for real estate, but for a lot of different businesses. But what you're doing is taking advantage of traffic, eyeballs, and if you do a good job of it, you put your message in front of people, and you force them to read your message. You just let the numbers take over from there. If they have a house for sale or whatever. So yes. And like I said, they're very inexpensive, and you can reach a lot of people for a few $100s when using bandit signs.
All right. Eric, yes, you can use the Facebook page, or you can use YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Periscope, whichever you choose. But I do see your comments here, and Eric is our local movie quote guru. He's normally good at being able to pick up on every movie quote that Ty spits out. Okay. So Danu74 says, how do I see your other videos? I'm just starting and wanting to learn. So how do they access the almost 500 videos that you have available on YouTube?
Well, you just simply go to YouTube and do a search for Flipman, and you'll see the guy, it's not behind, but anyway, see the logo that says Flipman, the red shirt or whatever, a caricature of me supposedly, an older me. But anyway, so that's how you access. Just go to my channel, and you can access them all there. Now, someone did put an actual playlist. They tried to organize the videos to, I guess, depending on the topic. To access that playlist, you can go to my site, flippinar.com. Flippinar is spelled like flipping, remove the G, add an AR. Flippinar, similar to seminar and webinar. Flippinar.com.
All right, there you have it. I'm still giving shout outs. I didn't give any from Instagram. Muhammad, Lord Finesse, K Marie, I think I said that one. Selma Lee. Hi, Mia, Blue Knight, Kelvin Cryer, Old Boy Rules, and Built to Last. Thank you for joining us. I see you guys steady lining up on Instagram. Just make sure you're hitting that heart, like, subscribe, and bell button. Now, Renikia, Ray Cash says he never hears us talk about a memorandum contract. Have you ever used one, and do you recommend it?
No, I never really used a memorandum contract. Have you, Ty?
Once, and it was a waste even then or whatever. We couldn't even get a clear title. I sort of felt like the seller wasn't, on up. Again, it was a waste of me going there. You have to do that just on your comfort level. If you feel that some people, a matter of fact, I was doing a interview with Chris Haskin, I think his name is. He has a channel, pretty popular channel. I was doing a live with him today, and he says he does it on all of them. He get them to sign it or whatever, but he say he rarely records it or whatever.
Oh, really?
He does just in case he thinks something may go on that you know how it goes. Sometimes, and you're going to get in most cases, most people are reasonable, right?
Right.
You're going to always have your outliers of people that's going to be a little shady. A lot of times you can just tell almost immediately or whatever. Like this seller, it may be difficult to get them to close it. I'm gonna go ahead and pursue it or whatever, but it may be difficult to get this guy to close it. So you ever feel that, just go ahead and do it or whatever. You have to do what you're comfortable with, but I don't normally fool with it or whatever. So.
Okay, so we kind of answered the question, but for those that are new, that are just joining us, we didn't really say what exactly it is.
Oh, a memorandum of contract. I'm sorry. Well, a memorandum of contract is basically you have a purchase and sales agreement. That's the normal contract to initiate and secure in a real estate deal. But a memorandum of contract is you're going to go record a memorandum at the courthouse to show that you and this seller were in an agreement to sell a property. And the purpose of it is to make sure that the seller doesn't sell it to somebody else or whatever without them addressing the contract that they have. The title company, when they run the title, they'll say, well, they'll go back to the seller, well, what is this? You signed a contract with them 3 days earlier or whatever. And normally a title company, now some of them will still go past it or whatever. Normally they want that addressed because they're the one going to put provide title insurance. They don't want to be on the hook if something went down or whatever. But that's basically what it's for. If that makes sense.
Yes, memorandum.
I think I explained it. Where you can.
No, that's perfect. Yeah.
You want to read the Google version?
No, let's roll.
and a lot of times, most people won't even get to that point. But like you stated, it's really one of those situations you just feel your way through where, you may feel that the seller is trying to go behind your back and cut a deal with someone else after you already got it on the contract. And sometimes you run into that, but, sometimes when you do, you just weigh your options. Is it worth it or whatever the case may be? But, it's not one of them things that to me, I don't use them like that. But obviously, Ty's friend, colleague feel that it's a good strategy. And I really like that strategy you just stated. So it's kind of cool.
So he actually prepared. He actually, whenever he get them to sign the contract, the purchase of sales, he get them to sign the memorandum too.
Right there.
So I think he said he actually gets it notarized, gets the memorandum notarized. So he like really
ain't bad though.
Extra mile. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah. So
All right, so sgbrocktonall.com on TikTok says, have you ever wholesaled a house that wasn't vacant or abandoned?
Hell yeah.
Turnkeys.
Yeah.
So to me, that's kind of more like a turnkey property, a property as you actually have a tenant in there. And absolutely, you can wholesale properties with a tenant. We call them turnkey properties. A lot of people that like properties with tenants in there are really buy and hold investors, or some people just may see a good deal. And they will wait it out, or they'll kick the tenant out immediately and start working on their property the next month. But yeah, you can wholesale the property with a tenant in there.
Yeah, your wholesale properties, I've done deals with the actual owner that's living there or whatever,
right.
Or like say a tenant, or it could just be a relative, sometimes even a squatter. Some of those can be the best deals if they got a squatter in there. So because you can get it cheaper, you got your squatter price.
You're right, got your squatter price. That's problems.
Problem price. Them the ones you really want, because ideally what you'll do to go to that squatter, you get somebody to go in there, you or whoever, and offer them some money. So you're gonna leave, you might as well get paid to leave, right? You do it nicely, but you know what I'm saying, you give them an opportunity, but you're only gonna pay them when you get paid or whatever. So not saying it's gonna always work out that smoothly, but you can. That's why targeting vacant properties is good or whatever, but I just target properties. I don't care what's the situation, what's the motivation or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Ideally, I would prefer it to be vacant, but it's not a deal breaker. A lot of people, they only target vacant property. No, I just target properties. Now, I normally just target absentee properties, but I don't care if they're vacant or not. If you don't know what absentee means, is that they own the house, but they don't live in it. You can only have one homestead. Any additional real estate is considered absentee or non-owner occupied.
Okay. Now, this question may take a little bit of thought, so it'll take about 30 seconds and then answer, both of you guys. What has been the biggest or most expensive mistake you've made while flipping?
I already know at the top for me.
Well, go ahead.
I had a house in one of I guess it's a B plus. Maybe I guess that's they would consider an A neighborhood in my market. And it was a deal. Basically my greed got to me or whatever. And the guy, I was running out of time to do the deal. And the house was a good deal in the sense the price was right, but the house was awkwardly designed, and you're gonna just have to just blow it out. It wasn't anything wrong with the house. The house was in great condition, but it was just so awkwardly designed. So a lot of people were scared off on it. All I knew I just knew I needed more time. So he had a $6,000 tax bill that needed to be paid. And so I went back to negotiate more time. He said, yeah, but I can't give you no more time. I got to pay this tax bill. I said, I'll pay it. Give me another 30 days. I'll pay it.
Ooh, negotiation.
And still didn't close in those 30 days. Lost $6,000. That hurt. I need that bread. That hurt.
So you thought you was very confident in closing that, obviously.
I was really confident. I was very, very confident I was going to close it.
So your buyer dropped out?
Yeah, I had several to drop out. They just didn't want to take on that project. It probably had 100. It probably had that house had 200 grand in equity, but it was going to cost 100 to renovate it or whatever. A lot of guys just didn't want to. They just didn't want to do that or whatever. But the house was in really good condition. You really wanted to go with the ceiling was low. It just was crazy. I said, who designed this house?
Right.
But anyway, I paid $6 grand and lost 6 big ones. So that's out of pocket.
And that happens, and it's business. It's business, you know.
That was foolish.
You know,
I should have let that roll.
Huh?
I should have let it ride. That was foolish.
You should have picked it back up, or did he sell it?
No, my time ran out. He gave me 30 more days. That time ran out. He wasn't extended anymore.
I had one of those deals there, and I can't lie, I had to turn on my feminine begging. I had to beg the seller. I had to damn near cry, like, please just give me 2 more weeks. And I ended up getting it done. But I can't lie, I had to turn on my female energy and, you know, did everything possible to just touch her emotions, because I was dealing with another woman. I'm like, okay, she's a woman, women are emotional, so let me touch her emotions, you know. So it took me like 4 months to move she had 2 properties back to back, and it took me like 4 months to move it, but she just kept working with me because I just wouldn't give up. I stayed on it. I actually pulled up on her one time. So it's just about being consistent in those situations. Yeah. But I can honestly say I probably had my greatest loss earlier in my career. That's when I made all my mistakes on everything. You know, my first mistake that I made before I got into wholesaling was I bought a property. I ended up buying my first property off credit cards and all types of stuff. But I didn't have the know-how. I ended up selling my property for cheap just because I couldn't pay the taxes. And the taxes wasn't no more than like $1,000. But I'm 21, 22 years old. And to me, I was like, you know, I panicked, you know. So to me, I made my greatest mistake because I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah. So honestly, not knowing what you don't know is tuition in itself. You're going to pay for it. There's sometimes just situations that you just can't get out of, but there's a lot of newbie situations that you just don't know what you don't know. And there's a price tag to not knowing what you don't know. So I ended up buying a property, ended up selling it for 80% less than what I purchased it for. So I ended up purchasing it for $30,000. I sold it for $8,000 because I couldn't pay the taxes. But I was 21 years old and not really knowing that I could have just called my mom, called someone to give me $1,000 to help me pay the taxes. It's just that simple. So just make sure that you just continue to be a student in the game, and continue to learn, because you don't know what you don't know, and continue to ask questions along the way. So
mine was from total greed.
All right. It was greed.
Okay. Thank you. Right. Upside the head.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for answering that, guys. The next question is going to be from Lee Bailey, and they want to know, how do you go about securing entry into a house you have under contract when the homeowner doesn't want to give you a key and is keeping the seller and buyer from discussing numbers when you have both on site at the same time? I'm sorry. And how do you keep the seller and buyer from discussing numbers when you have both on site at the same time? So we can't get a key, and the seller has to be there when we do have access, which means now I have the seller and the buyer there at the same time. How do I keep them separated?
That's a good one. And I think every wholesaler have ran into this issue. The key is that you got to control their narrative. You have to control the narrative. You need to get there 30 minutes. So you make an appointment. You meet the seller itself maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes prior to the actual buyer coming. And so you can talk to them, pull them to the side, you know, control that narrative. Don't make it seem like it's an end buyer. Tell them that, hey, my partner want to come by and just take a look at the house. If you don't mind, just give us space to go in and take a look at the house so we can kind of negotiate and discuss the things we need to do. So you want to control the narrative, get there a little bit earlier, so you can pull that seller to the side, so you can try to make them go sit in the car somewhere, go in the corner somewhere until I finish this whole. So I finished up here, but most importantly, you got to keep them separated, because as soon as they start talking, somebody gonna realize who each other is. They're gonna realize that that's the seller. They're gonna, so you want to keep it separated as much as you possibly can. But most importantly, when you first do your walkthrough, you want to do a very, especially for the seller who has that type of control freak, a control freak like that. You want to create a very thorough video and a whole lot of pictures. So obviously it's almost like them walking through it, so they can almost make a decision based on your video and your pictures. So when they do walk through it, just to make sure it looks like the video. So it's not, they're not there asking a whole lot of questions, because they're already seen it thoroughly in the video and those pictures. So that's kind of the way that I approach it, if when I'm in a situation like that.
Well, yeah. Whenever you have a situation where the seller won't give you a key, so that means they're going to have to be there. That's going to happen if you do this long enough. It's going to happen often, actually, or whatever. So, and it'll happen a lot of times when the property is vacant or whatever, which I guess is what we were talking about. So, you just have to manage it. Somebody told me a long time ago, it's a problem, deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Problem, deal with it.
You're in a business. There's a problem, deal with it. You get your buyer's mind right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know I'm wholesaling this. Right? Any pricing, discuss with me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like she said, you want to take video, pictures, so you can cut down the foot traffic on tire kickers. You're still going to have some, but you want to cut down the foot traffic on tires by having video, and you get it out to them. If they still want to see it, they know your price after that, then you may have something. Like you said, they just want to inspect to make sure what they saw on video and pictures is what it is, whatever. So, but it's going to happen. You just have to just manage it and handle it.
Mm-hmm. But having a thorough marketing, I'm at a point now that these wholesalers that I'm connected to, they just send me an address. And I'm like, okay, what's the bed about? How much you want? What's going on? Send me a picture of the front house or something. But, some people are their buyer list is so strong. All they got to do is send an address out there. But to be honest with you, when I first started this game, I realized it's a lot easier to move a house where you have done your due diligence. I can tell when someone just trying to move an address, and I can tell when someone's trying to really move their property, because when they're trying to move their property, their marketing is A1. They're telling you all the details. You got bed, bath, square footage, pictures, videos. They giving you how much they got your comp list. You have a full marketing plan where when you you email that end buyer, they can almost make a decision because you have spelled out everything. It's nothing to question. They got the purchase. You done gave them a kind of an estimate. It may be wrong according to the way that they want to rehab their property, but you gave them one according to what you think. I think it's going to cost me 20. You think it's 40. That's negotiable. So, but the more information you put into that initial email when you try to, sell your property, it's the easier. And people are not trying to go and all that foot traffic because you already done the homework. So do the homework for your end buyers. So now all they got to do is look at it, run their numbers, and they're ready to move forward. So that's just a gem that a lot of vets don't do anymore because they're just good. They don't have to. Their buyers list is there. But if you don't have a buyers list, your marketing, when you email your end buyers, should spell out everything they need to know about that property.
All right. So I'm glad you talked a moment there about the buyer. So let's focus on this buyer. Okay. So Ty, we have someone that says it's Eric Jones in your video from April 6, 2017. Years ago, you said we should screen the buyer. Can you explain what you mean by the buyer screening process?
I don't remember what I said.
Well, just what you know, I'm dealing with the true buyer. So before you waste my time and waste, me go out there with the seller and you look crazy, I'm looking crazy. How do I know I'm dealing with a true buyer?
I don't have to remember what I said, but
The situation.
I don't even remember a video like that, but maybe I was explaining something else and whatever. But anyway, all right. How do you know that you're dealing with a true buyer? Well, the conversation really goes really simple. A lot of times, well, not all, but a lot of times when you're talking to an actual buyer, not another wholesaler, is number one, they're going to want to know, do you have a clear title? If not, that'll be a question there. And no, we hadn't ran title yet. If the question that you ask them is, how fast can you close? How fast do you normally close? They say the response that you're looking for is
10 days away.
As soon as we can get a clear title. As soon as we can get a clear title, right? And so that's pretty much it, and they know they're gonna probably tell you just off the top, or where you say, who do you normally close with? Or do you mind closing with X, Y, and Z? And they'll tell you, well, no, I have my guy I want to use or whatever. I say, well, I'll go ahead and send your contract over. You tell them the amount of your earnest money. You say if it's $2,000, the guys that are serious enough, they don't even sneeze at that or whatever. So that's it. But now with a wholesaler, they'll go into, hey, I need 3 to 4 weeks or 30 days.
You can tell.
I'll just go in and cut them off. I say, man, what you wholesaling it? I'm cool with it. Or whatever. I'll just let them know, hey, if you got a buyer, we'll split it or whatever. I just go and cut them off. Once I hear that 30 days, why it take so long?
Right.
There's cash, you know what I'm saying? So now if they have a hard money lender, sometimes that is the reason why. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different conversation, but it's still considered a cash buyer. Mm-hmm. It's just the process is going to take long because now they're pretty much at the mercy of the hard money lender and their price. So it's just easy to recognize a real cash buyer because they're going to deal in speed or whatever. Mm-hmm. The only reason it's not speed is they have a hard money lender, but they'll normally go ahead and tell you that or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and then a lot of now some wholesalers, they'll put up the money too now. So they just don't let that just automatically be because they won't do a certain amount of earnest money. Because some wholesalers will still do it. That's fine or whatever, as long as you can verify where it's going to be held at or whatever. So, but that's it. It's just normally the speed and how they talk about, how fast they can close. It's easy to recognize. But it's okay to deal with the wholesaler. You just need to know or whatever who you're dealing with, so you can, because you don't want them to tie your property up 30 days or whatever. You know what I'm saying? No.
Right. No.
No.
All right, Randy, anything to add to that?
No, that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect.
Okay. Still talking about this buyer here. Lone Star says, do I have to show the buyer my purchase and sale agreement contract?
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely not. It shouldn't even come up, really. Mm-hmm. Unless you tell them that you're wholesaling it, then it will come up. But no, I mean, most people won't question that unless you done said more than you should, like I'm wholesaling it or, whatever the case may be. So most end buyers won't question that unless they find out that you're kind of a wholesaler, and then they want to figure out and make sure that you got control over it. But there's no law that you have to show that to anyone. And to be honest with you, I won't show, I don't care to show that to anyone because I know I don't have to. Whatever the case may be. But I do have to send that agreement to the attorney. So if you're using your attorney, you can tell them, call down to my attorney to verify my contract. And that's how I usually handle that.
Yeah. As far as showing it to an actual cash buyer, I mean, showing your contract that you have with the seller with the buyer. Nah, I'm like, come on, that's like, why? That's
like count my pocket.
Well, I want to see if you have it. Well, I can, Wait a minute. We can either make this happen or not, or whatever. And you normally don't want to deal with people like this. This is about relationships and people you're going to deal with over and over again. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make that executive decision. Like, and the only reason this stuff works well, meaning wholesaling, is that you have control over it, right? Mm-hmm. Especially on the seller side. But even with your buyers, you don't have to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? It's not the only game in town in most cases or whatever. So you know, no, you're not gonna see my contract. You'll find out what's going on or whatever. Let's negotiate the deal. The numbers work for you. Let's roll. If not, hey, I'll see you on the next one.
Absolutely. That's an insult.
Yeah.
You better trust me. I got this thing. Yeah. Get to this closing table.
Yes,
all right. So just a moment ago, we spoke about hard money loans, you know, getting their funds from a hard money lender. We can also maybe, if they were taking it a step further and doing a deal where they had to hold, they may need some assistance with transactional funding. So, Ronikia, I'm going to let you explain what those two terms are and how they would actually come into play when wholesaling, and how actually you could possibly assist with that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. So the difference between hard money and transactional funding, I don't even like to use the term hard money anymore because it's so negative and people think it's something negative, but it's alternative funding from outside of the banks. When you're dealing with the bank, you got to give your tax return, your bank statements, your income verification, your spouse stuff, your kids, everything. You got to give them everything to qualify. And then they cap you based on your income. With hard money loans, which I don't like to say hard money, it's private lending. That's all it is. It's someone got to pull the money in a fund and they lending it out to investors like yourself. It's private money. So the private money is an alternative to the banks. The banks, you need all types of financial documents, but everyone don't have their financials in place to qualify from the banks. So you have to go to alternative lending like a private lender. We don't care about your income, tax returns, bank statements, income verification. We are focusing on the assets. So private lenders, we focus on the asset itself. As long as there is equity in the property, you are able to finance it. I could approve you for $100,000 and $1 million all in the same day, as long as you have the money to service the debt. So a private loan, a hard money loan is nothing but a private loan that is an alternative to bank financing. And we're pretty much asset-based lender. So we lend based on the asset and not based on your financials. So that's the difference from that. Transactional funding is a type of private note, because I don't really know any banks that does transactional funding. It's a private loan that allows you, if you are in a state like Chicago, where I don't think you all can wholesale like that, you may want to bring in transactional funding. So what we'll do is give you the money for 24 hours. So say, for instance, you got it under contract at 100, you have it flipped out at 120 to an end buyer as a wholesale. We will fund the $100,000 contract and give you a 24-hour loan, basically. And so we will, transaction funding is wire the money the day of closing, and you wire all money back after closing. So that allows you to seem as if you have the money to purchase that property, so you can flip it out to your end buyer.
All right. So if they wanted to utilize those services, if they were at that point in their wholesaling journey, how would they get in contact with you?
So that's a good one. So in order to get in contact, so all of this is pretty much on our website. You would go to fundmynextdeal.com. We have all of our financing options. So I specialize in just creative financing, because it's nothing cookie cutter and traditional about building a business and getting into real estate, because banks don't care enough about taking a risk in your business, and they don't care enough about taking risk in your real estate investment portfolio either. So we have to understand private money, because private money is really what moves risky investments, because the banks are very conservative with their money. So you go to fundmynextdeal.com. There's a list of all of our funding options there. One of them is our unsecured funding options. And just want to make some correction that we were doing with our gap funding program. As you know, banks are getting tight right now. It used to be 680 credit score to get up to 150. Right now, you need a 700 plus to get up to $150,000 unsecured credit. So that's a creative options that we show you how you can use that money to invest into your wholesale deal, to get the all of the marketing campaigns and things that you need, and all the resources and portals and things that you need to even jumpstart your wholesale deal. You can use unsecured funding to invest back into your marketing campaign to even help you do more wholesaling, or use that money for a down payment or start your rehab. So there's a lot of creative financing options out there to help you get to the next level.
All right, there you have it, guys. You can reach Renikia at fundmynextdeal.com or across all social media platforms. Just keep in mind that herself or a member of her staff allow them, 48, 72 hours to come back, get in contact with you via email or however it is that you reached out to them. Hey, guys, you got opportunities here. So, Z-Buddha, I don't know, on TikTok, can you actually flip a house with only $10 and come out with straight thousands? Where you been, Playboy?
Well, he's responded to a TikTok that I did a week or so ago. It's one of the ones that's been more popular on there, thanks. Yeah, you can actually, and what that means with the $10, and really you're going to get that back. So really zero. You really going to get that back. And the $10 is used to secure your contract. I really want to say $1. They don't believe the $10. I could put 100. It doesn't matter what number I put on it, they're not going to believe. So I put the 10 because that's how I was trained or whatever. And a lot of times that's what I use or whatever. But what the $10 is for is earnest money deposit on an actual contract with a seller. So in the comments, I get all kind of crazy responses. This guy's crazy. You got to do 1% of the actual price. And our response,
oh wow,
that's real to talk. That's no law.
Yeah,
Show me
that's real to talk.
That's real to talk. That's no law. You can do a penny, right? You can give them a pair of shoes, consideration, or whatever. Whatever you and the seller negotiate. What the $10 is for, it locks up the contract. Well, I'll give you an example. All right, so what the $10 is for is earnest money deposit, but it's to lock up the actual purchase and sales agreement that you and the seller have together, right? So if you find the house, we'll just use some easy numbers here. House is worth $100,000 fixed up, but for whatever reason, you can get it for $30,000. A reason would be through a divorce. The wife got the house in a divorce. She don't know what to do with it. It needs a lot of repairs. So she gonna let you. She saw one of your abandoned signs. She called you. You all negotiate $30,000. So it needs 20 repairs. So you market that out. The contract say for 45. Someone steps back to you and say, "Hey, I'll give you 41 for it. I can't do 45." You agree to that. Well, we said 15,000. I'm gonna use this. You'll get it. You getting it or whatever. So you agree to that. So you got contract A. What is it? How do you say it? A to B? A to B contract for 30,000. And then you find a cash buyer is going to pay you the 41, B to C contract for 41. So you get the difference of both contracts for $11,000, not 15 in this situation. I can do 15 if you want me to, but so we say 45 or whatever. But so that $10 that you actually put up, you actually get that back.
Exactly.
So you get a full $11,000, right? Or a full $15,000. So, and the reason that you don't need your money is because the cash buyer brought all the money to the table to close the actual deal. That's why your cash or credit doesn't matter. They fund the deal. And in most cases, they pay all the closing costs also. Closing costs are just fees associated with putting the deal together. The title company has to be paid, title insurance, the attorney or whoever's closing the deal has to be paid, and they normally cover all of that. That's why. And I've seen somebody on TikTok that they should teach this in school. There's a lot of stuff they should teach in school.
Exactly.
So, but that's why. So he's asking a question based off of TikTok, probably one of my more popular ones or whatever. So
I was thinking about that. You say it should be taught in schools, and considering that most of us parents, such as myself, are about to have to go to this virtual school thing. I'm math out the door. We're not learning Pythagorean theorems and all the we're doing financial literacy. We're learning how to add money. We're learning dividends.
I get it. I get it that you want to expose kids to science and all this stuff, but you need to have the system needs to have a lane for kids that have entrepreneurship ideas that sometimes they don't know they had until you, just like you expose them that Saturn exists, right? You need to expose them to how to open a bank account right?
Right.
Why credit is important. Not just talk about it in a snippet, but actual ongoing classes on it. Not, like we talk about Saturn every year or whatever. What the hell am I going to do with that?
We dissecting frogs. I mean,
now the kid's going to go down that lane of science and want to study that. Okay, then you provide that for them. But not just constantly pounding with stuff that you would never use.
Never use. I talked to a group of kids. I said, I have yet to use X plus B minus 2X equals YX. I haven't used that. So why is we solving for X when we need to be adding up these numbers? We need to be learning how to balance these checkbooks and learning how to leverage our credit. Why are we solving for X?
Yeah, a teacher responded to. She said she was a teacher on TikTok. She said, "Well, parents oppose the children." I said, "Now, come on, now."
Really?
I said, you know better that all parents are not built equally, and they said
exactly.
Come on,
and people ain't financially lit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You know better than I know that all parents are not built equally in the school. When you're dealing with kids in the school system. Like, come on, now.
That's what that was designed, because they know there's a group of people, parents isn't financially stable. Yeah. So if you're not financially stable, how can you teach me how to be financially stable? And they know that. And we was taught from a financial unstable place, and that's why we were financially unstable.
Yeah.
I get it. I was joking and kidding with a friend of mine, but I was like serious. Like, take the kid that's stopping at the corner store and picking up the bag of blow pops and then selling them off individually in the bag of chips. Take him, because that's the kid that has
he's an entrepreneur.
Spirit in him.
He's born with it, baby.
Born. He knows how to. That's wholesaling. That's wholesaling. That's what it is. You buy it for a price, you resell it at another price, you take the difference. That kid needs to be taught, okay, now what you doing with that money? What are you saving? What are you reinvesting back into the business? How are you re-upping? All that kind of stuff. Man, wow. Yeah.
Accounting 101 should be taught in high school.
Yeah.
But from the sense where...
But I heard they're about to change that. I heard there's some laws about put in place where they're about to mandate it.
But where you can understand it, though.
Where are you going to understand it? I mean, all the accounting is... I mean, I'm talking about, expenses minus income minus expenses, I mean, the basic understanding of money should be taught in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a survivor need.
Yeah. Let's see here. Jumping back into it. Yes. Roland Hamilton said, this is why y'all are legends for doing this. We need y'all. That's right. Buy low, sell high. That's it. For everything. Let's see here. Going to another question. Let's talk about skip tracing for a moment. Gilbert Family says, good evening. After you skip trace a property, which way do you find it best to contact the owner? Do you cold call, text, or email? So once we figure out who owns this property, how are we reaching out to them?
Well, if it's just one single property, it's best just to call. If you're just talking about, I mean, even a few properties, 20 properties, in my opinion, it's just best to call and then maybe follow up with a text or whatever, and then maybe a letter, maybe a door knock, or if you're that gator or whatever. But so call, text, door knock, or call, text, mail, door knock, or maybe door knock, call, mail, you know what I'm saying? Or not call, text, mail. I'm sorry. If you're really gator now, you just go knock on the door. Hey, I know you own this house at 123 Main Street. Would you be interested in selling? Now, those are for the gators. For the poodles like myself, I can call, text, email, send somebody else over there to know I come. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you think?
No. I mean, no, you hit it on the head. It's a combination of those four.
Yeah.
But I definitely think, the average person ain't pulling up, but that is a good one. But most importantly, give them a call. And if they don't answer, leave a voice message. And if they don't answer, shoot them a text.
Yeah.
And if they don't answer, send them a mail. I mean, that's the combination.
Yeah.
And whatever order you want, all of them are effective.
All right. Let's see here. So G Swag, I have a rental under contract for almost 2 years, but it was never recorded, so the banks aren't lending to me. I owe 23K, but it's worth 80K. Can you help me pull my equity out? So, yeah.
Yeah. So you had a rental under contract for 2 years. Is it under contract or do you own it?
Yeah, I guess you have to be clear on that.
Yeah, because then you say I owe 23,000.
Oh, you may be doing. Are you doing a lease purchase?
A land contract, a lease purchase.
Yeah. But absolutely. So, what we can do, we call it a cash out refinance. So we do a cash out refinance up to our cash outs though is only up to 65%. Or we can do a purchase 65% of the as is value, or we can do a purchase up to 75% of the as is value. So you can take that much equity out your property up to 65% of equity or up to 75% on a purchase. And we provide a true 30-year note like a mortgage, no balloon. We got a 2-year prepayment penalty, but no balloon payment. Is a true 30-year note, just like if you went to a traditional bank.
All right. So Enrique Gonzalez says, when I use PropStream, aka Deal You Later, aka PropStream, guys, I suggest you all go visit that site, dealyoulater.com. That is dealyoulater.com. But when he uses it in searches for pre-foreclosures, they also show that they are in auction or going to auction. How can I contract a pre-foreclosure if it's going to auction? Is it possible?
It's possible. I would say this, and I started off, one of the ways is just contact the homeowner directly, because in pre-foreclosure status, the homeowner really still have time to get their stuff together so it don't get foreclosed on. So they still have time to go up there and get their their loan in good standing. So I mean, it was one of them things you can maybe just call them directly. And see if you could buy it from that way or dealing with directly the homeowner. If not, then maybe calling the asset manager before it's foreclosed on. But from my experience, once it's there, one of the only ways is going back through the homeowner, or just waiting on it to just fully foreclose on, and you coming and picking it up after foreclosed on. What do you say, Tom?
Yeah, it's to reach out to people that are in pre-foreclosure. And if you don't know what that means, that's basically they're behind on their payments and the bank has started foreclosure procedures. So the person still owns the house and the auction is just a date set that they're going to actually foreclose on it or whatever. But just like we were talking before, yeah, you want to reach out to them. Now, understand that these people, if they're behind on their mortgage, they're probably behind on most of their bills, and they're being bombarded by all of their bill collectors, from power bills, cell phones, cars, credit cards, student loans, and then the house. So they're going to be hard to reach in a lot of cases. So like we were talking before about Skiptracing, that's where the door knocking, cold calling, calling them on the phone, texting, direct mail. So the door knocking, that's probably the most powerful at that point to reach out to them and see if they want to sell or whatever. It takes it's a grind to find those or whatever, because a lot of people, that's the first thing they think about real estate. They think about foreclosures or pre-foreclosures or whatever, but that's how you'll want to reach out to them for sure.
Okay. Honestly, not even sure. Would you use the same process to reach a bank regarding an unoccupied home that they own but has been sitting for years?
Well, normally if a lender owns the property, if it's sitting for years and a lender owns it, that's rare, but it's possible. Normally when they're ready to sell it, you can reach out to them. Normally they're not just going to sell you one house because you reached out to them. If you're ready to buy a bulk of their one of their tapes, as they call it, then they'll deal with you. But one house individually, they're going to put that back on the market with a real estate agent, and then that's open game to whoever wants to see it. Whoever wants to make an offer on it or whatever. So, but if it's just sitting there and a lender's owned it for a while, that's rare. And then sometimes those are tax deed properties or whatever, and they just bought the tax deed for it, and it's just in their name. They may not technically own it per se. They just may own the tax certificate on it or something. So.
Okay, so Wally, we're just going to circle back just a minute. When a hard money lender makes reference to the asset, are they talking about the property that is to be purchased?
So absolutely. So asset-based lending is the asset is the property.
Okay. So Mark Johnson has a question for us. If you make an offer on a house to wholesale, but the owner doesn't want to accept the offer, can I ask him to owner finance?
You see this shirt?
Yep.
you can't see it.
What's that? Wholesale or us?
Give me a second. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, come back on.
Okay.
Offers are free. That's what
that part.
And Instagram. Offers are free. Yes, of course. You know, hey.
Until they accept it, you got to put that earnest money up.
No, you know what I'm saying? If the numbers make sense, you know, that your offer is for it to make sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's everything negotiable. Doesn't mean they're going to negotiate the price is going to work for you, but again, the offer is free or whatever. Yes or no.
So you're saying that they didn't want to, are they trying to sell? They didn't want to sell your offer to purchase? Yeah,
the price that they, from my understanding, the price that he needed to wholesale the property wasn't going to work. He was saying, can he like be a follow-up offer of trying to get it on terms. And if you don't know what owner financing is, it's basically the seller will be acting like the bank that you'll pay them directly. Y'all will just set up terms. It may be $100, it may be a $50,000 house, and y'all agree on 100 payments at $500. You know, assume no interest is attached to it. That's a different ball game or whatever. But just to keep it simple. So, and I guess that he just want to know, would it be okay to offer owner finance? Most definitely. You always want to do that. And I slept on that for years or whatever. You always want that to be a follow-up offer to try to still make it work or whatever. You know, the numbers have to work even with owner finance because you got to have an end game on or whatever. So, but you could pay more with owner finance.
Okay. Now from TikTok, yes, king size heart. You most definitely can buy a fixer-upper, fix it and sell it. But that's not exactly what we discussed for the most part here. We're talking about wholesaling homes and not having to fix it and resell it. You're allowing the buyer to do all of that. You're just ultimately taking the role as the middleman. But in the suggested, if you're starting with little to no cash, as this would most definitely work, that you get a few wholesale deals under your belt to build up that cash, then you can most definitely buy a fixer up and fix and sell. But if you're beyond that and you don't want to do the wholesaling thing, you just want to go straight to buying on your own, hey, that's flipping. Flip that too.
Yeah.
HD, here you come.
Yep, there you are. Yes. There's still a lot of things in regards to wholesaling that you would still want to educate yourself on, as far as like repairs and you know, you still need to know whether it's a deal or not. That's not going to change whether you're buying it for yourself or whether you're trying to put it out there for a buyer. If the numbers don't make sense, it's not going to make sense for you or them. So you can still learn plenty from, you know, watching the videos and joining us on Thursdays. Ooh, my screen is good. So Gonzo FX says, my neighbor is selling her house and asked me if I have a seller, but they have a realtor. Can I still find a seller? I'm still new to this and I'm really interested, and you guys sound so genuine. Help them out. So your neighbor should have came to you before they got the realtor, but okay, I digress.
Is it on the market?
Don't know that.
If it's on the market, you may run into issues. No matter, you know, realtor friend or not, just properties on the market, it's just tougher to move because it's public records. And I don't know an end buyer that's going to buy a property without Googling it and without doing their due diligence. And all you got to do is put the address in Google, and all the listings on every site is going to pop up. And if it pops up and is less than what you're offering, then you got problems, because now it's, you know, your car has been, you know, now the end buyer know exactly how much the property is really going for. So it's just harder to move properties that's on MLS. So if it's not on MLS, it's just a normal deal. You just want to ask the, maybe just ask the seller, is there, do they mind for you to, or whatever, go ask, put a property on the contract with the seller directly. If you know the seller, it doesn't matter. Call them directly and give them an offer directly. They may say, I want to go through my real estate agent, and then you let them know, hey, going through the agent is going to cost a couple more extra $1,000. This is what I can give to you right now, and we're ready to close here as soon as the title is ready. So you got to negotiate when those clients have a realtor, and show them, the benefit of just dealing with you direct sometimes too. But don't get it twisted. Some sellers are very loyal to their realtor, and if that's the case, then you just got to figure that out.
What was the question?
The neighbor has a house that they want to assistance in selling, but they've already gotten a realtor involved.
Well, yeah, but the seller wants to deal with them.
Yeah, it's an option if they can help them sell it. They want them to help.
Well, yeah, like she said, it's just going to depend on how deep the realtor's clause are in that situation, or whether because the realtor's going to want to get paid, even if they don't.
Realtor's going to get paid.
You know what I'm saying? Even though they don't want to do anything. So yeah, and that's cool. If you can get it cheap enough, you can build in there 6% or 5% or whatever is negotiated or whatever. So and normally they're gonna probably make more than what than they normally would anyway, because they were gonna have to split it with another agent in most cases or whatever. Right. So that 6 goes down to 3% of the sales price or whatever. So but yeah, it can happen. It just it's just going to depend on how influential the agent is in the situation at the end of the day. Again, we're deep into this particular show, but still hit that share button, send it to your people on Facebook, Instagram, text it out or whatever, whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, what is this? TikTok and Instagram. Share it. Yes. Share. Yes. It's 300 or plus people, however many watching right now. That should turn into 900 before we finish. If you all do it, I'm asking.
Like and share. This is game. I mean, the key is that don't just take this information for yourself, because the power behind this business is teamwork.
Oh yeah.
So you get your team, identify your teams, y'all get on these lives and y'all ask questions, y'all get as much information as possible, because this business is real. There's a lot of billions of dollars and money to be made and wealth to be created in this business. So get your teams. Y'all have a Flippinar party every Thursday, because we're here to really share the wealth and share this information. And if we all take this, it's time to take things to the next level.
Oh yeah, there's enough money out here for everybody.
For everybody.
10.
Yes.
10. Now, Ty, you often talk about, and you haven't talked about it tonight, but let's talk about the 50-50. So Built to Last wants to know, do you have buyers in Jasper? I need a buyer for a deal of mine. So if you think that you truly have a deal and it's off the market and it's already under contract, what can you do possibly to help them?
Well, yeah, you could just go to dealyourlater.com and there'll be a button there that says send deals. And what happens is that you'll see a video of me explaining what I'm about to explain. But basically, we'll partner with you if you have a property on the contract. Hopefully, you watched our videos to explain what a great deal is, and that's the price range that you have it under. And so we'll partner, even though on the site it has a list of cities listed. We'll do deals anywhere, but keep in mind now, the smaller the city, the tougher it is. But we reach out back out to everybody. Now, somebody say, well, they ain't reach back out to me. We reached out to you. You just didn't probably get it, because we either going to text you and or call you or whatever. So, but we reach out because what we like to try to do is to give you a reason why that deal didn't work. So maybe the next time you go in, the next deal that you send over, it will work, and we can all, it's create a win-win-win. But as far as Jasper, Jasper's, it's in play, because that's not far from Birmingham or whatever. Just text me 205-492-3425. Just call me too. So whatever. And I'll take a look at it.
Okay. And anyone that wants to get a hold of that one-page contract that you've been using?
Yeah, if you want a free copy of the contract that I've been using since 2003. Well, if you want to see how it's filled out and how to use it, you'll simply go to you'll go to so I'll share this. Go to YouTube and do a search for Flipman 2020 contract. And that video there is going to show you how to fill it out for a seller and buyer. Now, it's going to take you to dealulator.com. It's going to take you to go there. That's where you pick up the contract. Guys, you will fill the contract out on the site. It will give you an opportunity to download the filled out, printed, professional looking contract that you now can download and print and do whatever you want to, put it in their hand, mail it to them, or email or use some signature service like DocuSign. Okay? Is that okay?
That is okay. That is okay. That's okay. Okay. So guys, there you have it. Dealulator.com to access that one-page contract. Dealulator.com to submit any possible deals that you have to partner up with Ty. Dealulator.com for the Dealulator calculator to see if your deal is indeed a deal. You can plug and chug your numbers and see if it makes sense. Quick, easy access. And Dealulator.com is a monthly subscription that you can add to your wholesaling tool chest. It'll give you the ability to skip trace, figure out comps.
And the app is coming soon.
App is coming soon for that. So it's really a good asset.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah. Okay. See, there you have it. It's not free. The subscription service is free. Everything else on there is free. The subscription service isn't, but how serious are you about taking the leap into wholesaling, to build wealth for you, your family, and future generations? This is your ticket to it. Now, Richard Williams, you have a question. We normally really don't discuss trailers or mobile homes just because I know that's like a whole nother world that's coming up fast of wholesaling. But I think we could answer this question, Renikia. If I'm wholesaling a bricked foundation single wide with land included, the seller can't find the title to the mobile home, can I still consider it real property or immovable property? So we're talking about a trailer that's been bricked down to a foundation. Is it still a trailer? Or is it
so it became kind of fixed. Well, you can probably still move those.
Yeah, you can remove the brick.
Yeah, just move the bricks though.
Yeah, so if the land is coming with it, then the deed is going to be on the land. The trailer is just a structure on the land or whatever. I wouldn't even worry about her not having the title or any of that stuff because you can always get that or whatever, just like you lose a car title or whatever. But so the land is the plate or whatever. And because she doesn't have that title, I'm going to get her even bigger discount. But I can't prove you own that or whatever. She can't prove she owns that.
Right.
And she may can prove she owns, but the trailer, hey, you may have rented that out to somebody and they, you know what I'm saying? So that's just going to be
what do you do in that case? Because you can't prove it.
Well, you could get a title. You just have to, just like if you lose a car title, you can get a title for a mobile home or whatever. Yeah. But I would just use it as a negotiating tool to get a lower price if it were me, or whatever. So,
All right. So before we close out this evening, for those of you that are in those smaller areas that we just mentioned and want to get into this wholesaling business, but you can't do it in your back door, you want to hop a couple of counties over. How do we go about virtual wholesaling? I have like 4 or 5 questions about how do you find or get boots on the ground when you're virtual wholesaling? Is virtual wholesaling, possible? Is it a good thing to jump into? How does it work? Who do you trust? Who do you call? So just a quick snippet of how virtual wholesaling could be beneficial and could work just as well as wholesaling in your backyard.
So I can start that off. So virtual wholesaling works. I would say this, so it works as according to your team. If you lack strength on your team, your deal is weak. So it's all about building relationships and real relationships in the areas of where you want to wholesale. So you know, wherever that area is, you got to get into that area, and you got to start DMing people in those areas, contacting people in those areas, Googling businesses in those areas, so you can formulate your team in order to do that. So, I mean, the same people you would need locally, you would need that virtually. You need a GC locally, you need a GC virtually. You need, since you're not going to be the one that's going to go and in the field and things of that nature to be able to take a look at these properties, now you need field agents, you need bird dogs, you need someone in the field, or other wholesalers. You know, maybe learn to just partner with other wholesalers and co-wholesales in those areas. But most importantly, you're going to need field guys in that area, you're going to need GCs in that area. You know, you're going to need attorneys in that area. So the same people. The key is the strength is in your team. If your team is weak, your deal is weak. You know, one thing I ran into a lot of problems when I started virtual wholesaling a long time ago, is not because it was really because I was dealing with the wrong type of properties. You know, here I was trying to sell the Manhattan, large investment or property out in Manhattan somewhere. The key is that when you start to do all these large deals in other areas, it's so many moving pieces that you don't know if you're talking to the right people or not. And I found myself trying to move, large pieces of real estate in other areas, but I find myself to know that I'm dealing with a wholesaler that's dealing with a wholesaler, dealing with somebody that know the guy, that then they know somebody that knows somebody. And, but it's hard for you to identify that you are part of some monkey chain when you virtual wholesaling. You don't know, because you can't pull up on anybody. You can't look at anyone in the eye. So you don't know if the person you dealing with know the person that they say that they know. So at the end of the day, it's all about your team. Get your team in order, and the same people that you need locally, you're going to need them same people on your team from a virtual standpoint. What do you say, Tom?
Guys, GC, she did say that is general contractor. We just want to put that out there. Just put that out there. Okay. What you got, Ty?
So the question was
virtual wholesaling, how you get it done.
Okay. All right. So well, it's going to, now you're going to basically do the same things you're going to do that you would do locally. The only difference is that you're not there. So you need a you in wherever you're trying to wholesale in some form of fashion, whether it's another wholesaler, friend or family, someone you partner with or whatever, a real estate agent, if you can find one of those to do a lot of the grunt work for you. But you just need boots on the ground and whether you do it now. In some form of fashion, because when the properties have to be shown, like we were explaining earlier, sometimes the seller's not going to provide a key. They're not going to allow a lockbox to go over there. So you need somebody to be over there delegating the seller and the buyer to make sure your deal doesn't go south or whatever, because no one's there to represent your interest or whatever. So if you can accomplish that part of it, you can wholesale the world or whatever, wherever the laws will allow. So most definitely, it's pretty much that simple.
All right. Oh wow, my screen is jumping. Okay, so what I did want to stop. Hidden what button? It ain't working. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I was having a little bit of trouble on my screen here. So, Renikia, it may seem simple to us, but not to everyone. And I know we try not to be facetious and say Google is your friend. But when we're talking about the equity in properties, what are we talking about? What does equity mean?
Good question. So equity is the value in your property over the debt that's owed. It's the value of the property over the debt that's owed. So say, for instance, your property is valued at $100,000, but you have a $50,000 loan on it. Your equity is that $50,000 minus the 100 is $50,000 worth of equity in your property that you can tap in. You can pull the equity out, which is called, on a personal level, it's called a HELOC loan, a home equity line of credit, which allows you to pull the equity out of your property in a second lien position. Or in our cases on the private side, we call it a cash out refinance, where we will just refinance into the higher loan. So say, for instance, you want to pull out $30,000 in that scenario, currently owe 50, we will refinance you at the 80, and at the closing table, you will walk away with $30,000 of your equity.
All right. So just to follow Renikia up, what is equity? All right, when you're dealing with real estate. I'm gonna read the first line sentence here Google has. Makes sense, then I'll try to layman term it. Equity is the market value of real property, the real estate, the house, less or minus the amount of liens that may exist, mortgages or liens that may exist. So basically, like she said, just some quick math. If the property is the market value or what the house may appraise for, market value, how you want to term it, is worth $100,000 and they owe $70,000 on it, whether that's a mortgage, taxes, or whatever, or just a mortgage, that means the equity in the house is $30,000. If the house is worth $100,000 and they don't owe anything on the house, then the equity is $100,000. And as a wholesaler, you're always on the equity chase. That's what you're chasing all the time. As much equity as possible. Equity normally equals profit. Equity makes a great real estate deal, right? How much of it can you capitalize on, right? That's the equity.
Okay. Now, for those of you who are cold calling and returning calls and doing your follow-up, Lone Star says calling a seller at 9 p.m. too late. I think the standard is for any telemarketer, any salesman, or any pitches, political, whatever the case may be, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I would err on the side of saying 8 p.m. 8 to 8. 8 to 8 are good hours. You normally want to think of what time it used to be in the heyday. I know it used to be, you had to think about family sitting at the dinner table and you didn't want to call and interrupt that because they're not going to meet you. No, but considering the day is not many people are sitting at the dinner table eating, I would say 8 p.m. I would say 8 to 8. 8 a.m. to 8. What you think, Renikia?
I would say 8 too. You call me after 9, it's like, okay.
Amen.
I would say 8, but you can do whatever you want to do, but I would say 8 just to respect people time and family time at their house. Yes.
Ty?
Yeah.
Don't be Gator.
Ty Gator though. Ty 11:30 that thing.
2 o'clock in the morning thinking it's a booty call. It's the flip man. You want to start
up to 8 p.m. As far as I would go 8 to 8 or whatever. Matter of fact, now you're just calling. If you're just calling because you're following up, that's different.
Yeah.
Now, if it's just a flat out cold call, 8 to 8. But I probably on the beginning of it, I probably wouldn't make a call until about 10 or whatever, 10 a.m. and then up to 8 or whatever. So you get it early, get it in early, man. So there's no rhyme or reason on it now. According to marketers that deal with this all over the country, the ideal time frame to make cold calls is between, I think they say 4:30 till 6:30 or 7 p.m. That's the premium time to call. Now, people have different schedules because people work different hours. I'm just saying,
All right, there you guys have it. We've rounded out over an hour of questions and answers in regards to wholesaling. This show number 149 is available pretty much as soon as we hit done on this thing. You come back and watch it. You come back and watch it again, and you get it again and again. In addition to beginning to binge on those videos, which are available to you on YouTube. If you subscribe, like, heart, follow across the social media platforms, especially on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, Ty is continuously updating information and putting videos up to assist and help you. This is absolutely free educational content. It's free. Now, if you want to pay for it, you can do that too. There's ways for you to do that. I mean, you can reach out. You can go to flipman.net and, fill out the little order form. But this is putting information into your hands free of charge that other individuals have been using for decades, generations, to build their wealth. And it's in your hand, on your computer, on your phone, tablet, whatever you have, for free. Now it's your choice whether you're going to use it or not. Only thing that we can do is give it to you. Someone said on TikTok earlier that if financial literacy or investing was taught in school, there would be too many investors.
I agree.
Well,
No, but it probably would be more investors.
It would be more, but just like with anything, just because you teach a lot of science, there's not a lot of scientists.
Correct.
You know,
That's true.
It needs to be an option. You know what I'm saying?
It needs to be an option.
It's not even an option.
Well, what I was getting to was going to be what you normally say. A few will, many will.
Yeah,
Right.
most, in this situation, most won't, but enough will.
Most won't, but enough will. So this information, most won't take advantage of it. Most won't go any further than watching the videos, but enough will to make a difference in their economic status.
Yeah, it just needs to be an option.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. It
needs to be an option.
Like, but yearly, not a bleep in one economics class. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the systematic design that it will create more chief and not Indians, you know, whatever the case may be. So because everybody will be on a business owner mindset and no one to have a worker mindset.
Yeah.
So it's designed.
Yeah. What do we know?
What do we know? We only know well, I tell you what, we're figuring out what we don't know.
Right.
And we're figuring out the hard way. And I do that for our subscribers.
We're figuring out what we don't know. Exactly.
Yeah, we're figuring out what we don't know, but what we should have known. All right, Renika, you got any parting words for our people?
Take advantage of the free education. Take advantage of the content. I spent almost $200,000 in education and tuition and in my degrees and things to get to this place I am right now, to give it to you all for free. So I don't think we realize, because it's free, how valuable it is. But I spent over $200,000 in tuition to learn what I know. So don't take it for granted. This is a life-changing content, life-changing education that they're not teaching in school because they know how valuable the power of wealth is. So don't take it with a grain of salt. This is real.
All right, Ty, any parting words?
Oh, nothing. Just make sure you just follow me all places, Ask Flipman or whatever, and share this. Help somebody else. There's enough money out here for everybody. 10 times over. So.
All right. If you ever watched the show, you know what's about to happen next.
Flip man, it's the flip man. You want some money in your hand? Flipping houses without credit or your cash. Get that bag.